right now, rats, cats, robots, crustaceans, Terminator indestructible bears, zombies, and aliens. Here y'all go trying to confuse me with the breakdowns and whatnot. Oh, but I'm gonna do what I can. I will do what I can. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Love, Death, and Robots. Now this is volume 3 of an animated series on Netflix, and this is a first time viewing of the show for me. Now before I get into all things brain farts, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm gonna give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're gonna come back and discuss. Here y'all go with the shits with these requests. Y'all already tried to break me down requesting all of them goddamn Christopher Nolan memento ass movies. Y'all take pleasure in this? Having me thinking all hard, sweating above the temple? You motherfucker.
Go back.
You guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me. Let's jump into this show. But before we get into the video, I have to give a shout out to the person who paid for it and requested this. So if you happen to get your life and help me figure out what was going on, it's not because of me, it's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for supporting me and paying for this content. Now, getting into the show, as I stated, this was a first time viewing for me, jumping all the way to volume 3, which was okay because this is an anthology show, so you don't necessarily have to start from point A to understand what's going on. But while viewing volume 3, I absolutely would love to go back. The show's storytelling, graphics, stop motion, visuals, animation are all top tier. It is so beautiful. It's transcending. Every single episode could be as short as 6 minutes to 20 minutes. They all have a message that lies within every single episode. You watched, you're amazed, you're engulfed, and you walk away with something different every single time. But you should not be surprised just because of the star power that is behind developing this show. We have names like Tim Miller, who's behind Deadpool, Terminator Dark Fate, and even on the technical side, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, or Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And we also have David Finch attached to this show. Seven, Fight Club, Panic Room, Gone Girl. Every single thing that these men have to offer individually to cinema is very, very present and pronounced in this show. But it's through animation, which allows their creativity and margin to go so much further. And we get a mixture of fantasy, science, adult animation, horror, some dark black comedy. It is really great. Let's get into the show. Now, this season was a collective of 8 episodes, and we open with our first one, the 3 exit strategies. We get into what looks to be a post-apocalyptic world and all the aftermath. Every single human looks to be dead, and 3 robots want to investigate why. This entire episode begs the question of, hey, if the world ended today, this is what I would do. And we get into each person's decision according to wealth and class status. We get into different solutions that they clung to for survival that pretty much ended up not working. Now, the robots going from scenario to scenario, the puns, the jokes, all very much hilarious. Let's not even talk about the animation within the show because it is just top tier. The main question here is, why is it that when survival comes into play, humanity becomes a big question and everybody can't seem to come together as a collective perspective, and it's all about self-preservation. We get into the lower class of people deciding to rely on a more primitive way of surviving, hunting, knives, guns, but when they ran out of food and resources, eventually turned on each other. We have the more luxurious resort, we're just sit and wait it out, who relied on AI and technology that eventually turned on them. And then most of all, in the end, we have our go to Mars and go to the moon ass people. We hear so much, especially now, of people trying to go to the moon. Like, but what the fuck? We want to go to the moon too. Our financially well-off Elon Musk-esque people of the world, but everybody is not in that tax bracket, and instead of sprinkling around these resources to help and preserve everybody has that one-track mind to save themselves, and everybody failed miserably. We even end with the freaking cat. Like, who'd you expect? Elon Musk? No, we made it. I saw somewhere that ties into a previous season that I have yet to see, but in the end, nobody made it. Even though, I'm gonna go and be in an underground bunker ass people ended up turning to cannibalism and turning on each other. Pretty much our best rate at survival is us combining powder the people. Don't leave us. We want to go to the moon too. In fact, don't even spend all those fucking resources on fuel and going to the moon. Spread some of that shit around. Now, this second story, Bad Traveling, revolves around this huge, gigantic crustacean of a goddamn crab who is able to communicate with humans, takes over a ship and wants the captain to steer him and its little babies to some fucking unsuspecting island to devour unsuspecting men, children, women, and babies. We have the captain and his crew stuck with the question of, do we steer him to this island and just let it be done, or do we not think about their own life preservation and steer this dangerous, devouring, hungry ass crustacean to some desert island and hopefully escape with their lives? First off, I was thinking, burn that shit down and get on a lifeboat. Isn't this a boat? Or if they're lifeboats, just leave. But that's just me. But Love, Death, and Robots, of course, prefers to make us think. Now we have this suspicious captain who is solely communicating with the crustacean and seems to be thinking about self-preservation himself. He has a whole vote take place where, come to find out, everybody on the crew actually voted for the shorter journey, the self-preservation. Let's have him go and feast on these people on this island and save ourselves so we have family. What about us? Now we go on a really quick yet amazing animated journey of this captain looking really selfish. I'm thinking about the people on those islands. We need to get this crustacean to this deserted island and do what we need to do. And anybody who's not going to follow suit and you're making that selfish decision to go on that short journey and have them feed on innocent people, your ass is getting fed to the crustacean. But it's just not those people. Anybody who disagrees, anybody, collecting the shortest straw, any little fucking reason, he's feeding bodies. Meanwhile, it's not solely about that, even though we are under the perception that, hey, he is, doing something for the greater good. What about those innocent people? We have him slowly killing off and feeding this crustacean bodies after bodies because his plan needs to fall into motion to not only save himself, but destroy this crustacean at the same time. That is very hungry, along with the very hungry babies that they have in the bottom of the ship. Once again, like our first story, proving humanity ain't shit. We ain't shit. We literally have a boat full of people only think about themselves and really just throw the crustacean to the island, kill those people. We don't care as long as we get away. And then we have this man who's doing the selfless thing, but he's also killing off people, only to later set fire to the boat, burn up the crustacean, and get away with solely his life. When maybe we could have shared that particular plan with the rest of the crew and did that in the first place. But there may have been an inch of him not even making it to that point because that crustacean was so hungry and he had to feed it something. Humanity ain't shit. Now, the third episode, The Very Pulse of the Machine, had me literally about to cry in the car. Like, I was so over it trying to figure out what was going on this Mars planet astronaut psychedelic, oh, there's no more oxygen in my tank ass mission. We literally have 2 astronauts, a planet, a crash, 1 die, damaged oxygen tanks, pain, morphine, hallucination, the dead astronaut that she's dragging along, talking to her as she tries to get back to some sort of salvation. Now, first, what I got from this was a clear depiction of addiction. We have this astronaut just really running out of oxygen. She is clearly on borrowed time as she's dragging this body behind her. But we have her making her journey longer, in my opinion, because she's continuing to hit herself with, this morphine, these different drugs causing her to hallucinate, and is pretty much making the walk and the mission even longer. Some big metaphor for that euphoric feeling you get from drug use and just pretty much giving up. I could be totally wrong. Now, continuing to inject herself with drugs and realizing that she probably won't make it much further, we begin to watch her see not only her dead partner begin to speak to her, but the planet itself begins to come alive. It kind of gives this female form, and that begins to speak to her also. The planet is instructing her to jump into this acidic-like, deadly-ass liquid on the planet, and that she will pretty much ascend and become one with the planet. We watch her jump in and we hear her call out to the satellite. Now, we did not see her make it back safely to the landing craft, so we are to assume that she's able to call out to the satellite because she did become one with the planet. Or this is all still her hallucinating and she has succumbed to the drugs and she's somewhere passed out, about to disappear into the ether any goddamn way because she's ran out of oxygen and she's dead. I don't know. Now, episode 4, Night of the Many Dead, is some of the most adorable, creative shit I've seen in a long time. And it's amazing that they got it to be that adorable in 6 minutes. We literally have a couple have sex in a cemetery, wake the dead, and then it's a whole zombie World War Z, Night of the Living Dead-esque situation with a hint of robot chicken. The earth is very easily just completely overrun with zombies. We see how much it spreads. It's hilariosity all the way through. We even see how us trying to defend ourselves against the zombies causes an even more atomic giant mutiny afoot. Like, it's just so funny. But at the end of the day, this whole 6-minute situation, we see that, oh my God, this is it. We just can't do it anymore. They've overrun the entire world. The best thing to do is to just try to blow some shit up. And we have the president launch one of those damn nuclear missiles, and then we pan out and we see just how small and insignificant Earth actually is. Funny. Now, the next episode, Kill Team Kill, is equally hilarious. It's like, blam! Ugh, this is it. I'm about to die. Oh, just tell my wife I fucked your sister. Oh. I thought that shit was so funny. We have this whole team of Green Beret, Army, CIA agents, I don't know, the whole supreme SWAT ass team on the hunt to kill this genetically enhanced ass grizzly bear who is literally taking out anything that moves. On their way to this, we get unrated Rambo, Predator, 80s nostalgia, anime, Adult Swim, ragtag team of just pure unadulterated ass bloody violence with a hint of adult humor. I really had a good time and I wanted this episode to keep going. There isn't a whole lot going on here. We just have this freaking RoboCop-esque unstoppable grizzly bear, and we just get into pretty much, I think, humanity yet again and why anyone would even make this type of bear in the first place. Now, of course, we're sure that this Terminator-esque machinery is supposed to be used to inflict violence on probably some other foreign country somewhere, some other goddamn task force, but in the process of trying to terrorize and create death for somebody else, we have in turn created it for ourselves. We thought that we were trying to create some shit man-made and play God to try to destroy someone else, when in fact, we destroyed ourselves. You built some shit that you have no control of, and now it's killing all of us. Tell my wife I fucked her sister. Now, of course, after we've got all this blood and guts and all this comedy, where do they take us? They take us to the next episode, Swarm, and they want to make us think. We have this scientist, or doctor rather, who is trying to study this ancient ass progressive alien life form who's very productive and take whatever they're doing, observe it inside and out, and then later see how these particular things could maybe advance the human race to where we can do the same. Now, we have one female doctor who's already been there. She is used here as his guide. She has been able to observe and coexist and be one with every single species there without a problem. She has a lot of respect for what they have been able to accomplish and all the boundaries and traditions that they have set for every living thing there just to create the order that they have. And she is really trying her best to not disturb it. Now we come to the contrast with the other doctor who's simply there to literally take their productivity and make them slaves for the human race instead of actually studying them like he said he would and try to build this type of system over time. Completely colonize this whole damn situation. Thank Pocahontas, thank Avatar. But he messed up because he completely underestimated the intelligence that this whole alien race possessed. And I don't know how, because if they were able to be this goddamn productive, what made you think you could just secretly come in here and finesse a whole entire species? It's literally one of him, but him, being the human, pretty much assumes that he's superior when it's like hundreds upon hundreds of these goddamn races who are able to communicate and begin to flex heavily using mind control. And now he has created a whole enemy who wants to now study us and sees the human race as a threat when we weren't even a blip on their radar. Leave people alone. This episode got a little gruesome too. It got real gross with the brain and probing the blood. Yes, got real dark. Now, Mason's Rats was a pest control versus T-1000 rats or man versus machine good time. We have this really great depiction of war with this older man who is simply trying to get rid of this family of rats in his barn. But we get into war territory because we have this really big pest control company who has all this different machinery, all of these different advanced things to kill. It just gets bigger and bigger every single time. And we have this pest control company continuing to up the ante every single time and still unsuccessfully getting rid of these rats. They have been able to multiply, to adapt, which is, pretty much a metaphor for other countries and bombing. First of all, we're always going to be here. We're not going anywhere. We're continuing to survive. And even, for that, even though you're trying to bomb and you're thinking about that one pest or this pest, you are literally bombing and killing whole entire families. It's an entire slaughter in this episode. Metaphors are super duper strong down to the little families and pretty much drones dropping bombs. And we pretty much have the man just see the bigger picture of, we're all trying to survive. Let's not even do this shit. Y'all can have the barn. Let's all just make it. Now, when we get into vaulted halls and tomb, I honestly had completely checked out. I had kind of started to hit one of these. And not just that, I felt like this was one of the slower episodes for me, and it wasn't as great as the other ones that I had previously saw, or maybe I was just tired. But I felt like we were getting into this squad of soldiers who were going to rescue someone, but ended up coming up on this prisoned, chained up, ancient, large-ass, alien-like creature who could have mind control. We pretty much have it want to set free and take over each soldier kind of one at a time. And we kind of have the other soldiers try to stop them. They end up maybe killing each other. And we pretty much end up with the lone survival female soldier. And this entire time, the alien wanted to be set free, but it was also giving, I don't know if it was an alien child, it was also giving depictions of what would happen if it was actually set free. And it was just pretty much domination, world of fire, destruction. Child, it was hell. But I felt like in the end, the creature was maybe unsuccessful because she was the last survivor, and we end up seeing her walk out of the tomb alone with her eyes cut out. And I thought maybe she cut out her eyes to avoid the mind control. Now, when we got into the last episode, Javarro, at that point, I really didn't think it could get any better, especially from the previous episode that I had watched, and I was just prepared to have my ending thoughts and pretty much get it over with. But when I tell you I woke all the way up just based on the animation alone, it was absolutely gorgeous. We have this beautiful, loud, shrieking, golden chain encrusted, just beautifully painted siren who is trying to lead this heavily ass armored army until their death into this water so that they can sink. I literally had to watch this episode a couple of times because I didn't completely grasp anything outside of her being a siren or why she wanted to kill them in the first place or even what they were doing there. It appears that the men want to come off as humble and respectful of everything that inhabits the land. You even see them bow to this group of holy men, but I feel like the siren pretty much knew what they were there for, and she decides to use her siren to lure the men to their own death. They think that she's beautiful. They're all clamoring and destroying themselves to get to her until they all eventually die. All except for one who happens to be Death. And at first you kind of maybe feel for him, and maybe even feel for the guys because there isn't any justification that they are there to just pillage and savage. But the relationship that he has in that brief moment with this beautiful diamond encrusted ass indigenous siren woman, it shows that her intentions about them were probably right. And this becomes a symbol for countless indigenous people who have downright been taken advantage of. You see him kind of gain her trust. You think that they kind of like each other. And then you see that he's no different than the other countless soldiers that she led to their deaths. He proceeds to assault her. He pretty much rips her of everything, you know, all of her diamonds, all of the gold, just completely tries to steal from her, murders her, and rolls her ass off the cliff. I was like, oh, god damn. The metaphor was very, very strong here. And of course, in the end, he got his payback. You know, people who do bullshit never prosper. After he's pretty much ripped her of everything and just threw her the freak away, of course, she returns and he accidentally gets the blood that he threw her in the freaking lake, and he gets the blood in his mouth, and he gains because, you know, she's all, you know, magical and whatnot. He regains his hearing that way that he can hear her siren, and she freaking kills him as well. Oh Lord, y'all really was trying to have me think out here. Well, you guys, that was my review for Love, Death, and Robots Volume 3. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop down and comment. Did I get some of these things right? Did I miss the whole point? It's okay if I did. You know, y'all expect me to be the pinky in the brain when sometimes I'm just the pinky. I look forward to reading you guys' comments. I appreciate you for watching this video. I see you next time. Bye.